response to the U.S. striking Iran last night in retaliation for them striking a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran struck Bahrain and also struck a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. So that's now the second ship they've struck in as many days in the Strait of Hormuz. But in addition to that, Hezbollah has come out and basically ceased negotiations with Israel for the war that's happening there in Lebanon, which the entire memorandum of understanding is contingent on that ending. All of this flared back up as soon as Iran got enough oil out of the strait to keep them afloat. It appears they never had any intention of having a real deal with the United States. And this is why we don't make deals with terrorists.
Look, Mr. Global, I respect how informative you are when it relates to energy and oil and stuff, but maybe geopolitics isn't your strongest suit, because you just called Iran a terrorist and that we don't negotiate with terrorists and that they never intended on fulfilling the obligations of the MOU. And that's the biggest load of crap that I've heard you say in quite some time. Let's go back through recent history, and it's surprising that you've already forgotten this, but the United States bombed Iran out of nowhere, just bombed Iran. In fact, they unalived almost 200 students in an elementary school, then tried to act like they didn't, and then realized, yeah, they probably did. That sounds like something a terrorist might do, yeah? And so Iran did what they should do, which is use every tool at their disposal to defend themselves, which they have every right to do. And they did. And they shut down the strait, and the United States didn't like it, because now the world has to look at the United States like the asshole that caused a problem that is affecting literally everybody. And even you yourself said Donald Trump basically surrendered, right? He surrendered, and he gave them everything that they wanted because it was so important that they signed something so that they could get oil out, they being the world, so that the world could have oil again, right? And that we essentially surrendered to Iran. And that's what everybody with a reasonable mind should walk away from if they read that memorandum of understanding, which is very short. The very first paragraph of that memorandum of understanding was that Israel would stop bombing Lebanon. That is something that the United States agreed to, that all the war on all fronts, including Lebanon, would cease. Yeah? Well, on June 17th, as you can see, the U.S. and Iran have electronically signed the MOU, so 17th of June. But then right here on the 18th of June, the Israeli military has killed at least 47 people as it launched airstrikes amid intense fighting in southern, what's that? Lebanon. And then that following day, planned talks in Switzerland between the U.S. and Iran to discuss the technical terms of their ceasefire deal have been postponed. And why? Why did they postpone it? Because they didn't abide by the MOU. Yeah? It wasn't Iran not abiding by it. It was the United States and the proxy nation Israel. And right here, June 20th, Iran says it's closing the Strait of Hormuz over Israeli attacks on Lebanon. Now, part of that memorandum of understanding was that all of the navigation safely through the strait was to go through Iran. Look at paragraph 5, that's what it says. And yet this Singapore ship, the Everly Love, didn't do that. They were actually following on the U.S. side of things near the Omari coast when they were struck by an unidentified object. Iran has not taken credit for that. They also haven't denied it, but they haven't taken credit for it. Nobody exactly knows that Iran did it, and let me tell you something. Israel, the moment that MOU was signed and Donald Trump was criticizing Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel came out and basically said, "Fuck you, we're going to do what we want." They ramped up the attacks in Lebanon immediately, causing the strait to close because they don't want that memorandum of understanding or any ceasefire with Iran to occur, because they've been wanting the United States to go to a war in Iran for them for a very, very, very long time now, 40 years plus. And since that Singapore ship was actually on the Omari side, it was supposed to be under U.S. protection, and I guarantee you, 50 fucking years from now, we're going to learn that Israel or the United States struck that goddamn ship. And why would they do that? I think you know why. Your contention is that they never were going to agree to this. They never intended on negotiating a peace deal with the United States. That's what you said, right? Except it is the United States and Israel that have twice, in the middle of negotiations, bombed that country. and on multiple occasions have unalived the negotiators who were negotiating peace with the U.S. and with Israel. And yet you still, with a straight face, are going to sit there and act as if Iran are the terrorist and cannot be trusted? What is wrong with you, sir? But the fact of the matter is that strait was closed. That strait, when that ship was struck on the 25th, that strait had been closed for 5 days. 5 days it had been closed, and yet there it was, not on the Iranian side of things where they could have gotten protection by Iran, which is what they stated. And it even said, they made a statement and said, if you go on the Omari side, we can't protect you. And they chose to do that, and they got hit. And so the U.S. struck them, and then they started striking targets all over the place. U.S. targets, as they refer to us as the Zionist terror regime. They're calling us terrorists. You're calling them terrorists, except only one of these parties have killed negotiators during negotiations. Only one of these parties have bombed the country that is being negotiated while the negotiations are to take place. Only one of these parties, and it's not Iran. Okay? So when you want to pretend and play LARP badass American, maybe get the facts straight. Maybe stop applying some fucking racist fucking shit, calling those people terrorists because, I don't know, America. So while I appreciate the information, I follow you, and I'll continue to follow you, and I'll continue to trust that the information you give me about energy and the prices and things that are coming, your prognosis, I'll still appreciate that. I now look at you as the racist that I think that you actually are. Because for you, a thinking person, somebody that has a brain and can certainly use it, for you to come out and claim them to be terrorists and act as if they were never going to negotiate in good faith, that tells me what I need to know about how you actually feel. And I can only think of why. And that's you being a racist, buddy. Or maybe you're a Christian and you just hate Islam. I don't know. But you're wrong here. And, that's fine. You've been wrong before, like when you said that everybody's electric bill was going to be higher than their mortgage. And then you tried to act like it had already happened. Okay. You're smart, but not everything you say should be taken as fact and ran with as if it's going to happen or is true. Okay? Yeah, we'll catch you in the next video.